Well, let's take you here now. Ace Magashule has been expelled from the ANC. The party's National Disciplinary confirmed the expulsion of its former Secretary General a short while ago. Now, Magashule was given 7 days to make representations about why he should remain in the party. He was found guilty on 2 counts of misconduct and contravening the party's constitution. This after he wrote a letter to party president Cyril Ramaphosa suspending him in 2021. This was an apparent tit-for-tat after Magashule himself was suspended amid a corruption trial in the Free State. The second charge relates to his failure to apologize to Ramaphosa after the letter. Magashule, who spent about 2 years suspended from the party, released a video shortly after the NDC's findings rubbishing the charges. Now, earlier we spoke to the ANC spokesperson, Mahlengi Bengu Mutsiri, asking her firstly about how confident is the party on firing a former Secretary General in view of its impact to the electorate in next year's poll. This is what she had to say.
The current leadership of the ANC has been given very strong marching orders by the 55th National Conference of the ANC regarding the need to renew the organization and to act against all forms of malfeasance. Now, I'm not at liberty to comment on the merits or the demerits of the case involving Ace Magashule because that is the domain of the National Disciplinary Committee. But that committee has acted and should continue to act in the best interest of the renewal project of the ANC. So in as far as the pre-election season, that does not stop the ANC from putting its house in order. That would just be my reflection on your question as well.
So are you not worried that this could be construed by perhaps some of his supporters as, in inverted commas, a witch hunt to get rid of him as he was seen as someone who was opposed to the current president?
In your earlier analysis that I was listening to, you did make mention of the fact that this has been a protracted case. Indeed, it couldn't possibly be seen in that light, given the fact that this is something that happened, before the 55th National Conference, but also I think the 55th National Conference was emphatic that when the ANC exercises discipline, the ANC has got to be consistent in the exercise of discipline.
If you look at what has transpired since Mr. Magashule was suspended and the processes that actually unfolded, one would say that it did not come as a surprise because, one, Mr. Magashule has been occupying the most influential and strategic position in the ANC. And also at the same time, you expect him to be well conversant with the constitution of the party and everything that has something to do with discipline. At the same time, the NDC had given him an opportunity to come and make representations so that they could actually decide whether to come with a leniency or a lenient decision, or as to whether he would show some sign of remorse. And given that kind of an opportunity, we have not had anything, or they could not hear anything from Mr. Magashule. So one actually expected this decision to be taken. You will recall that Mr. Magashule has taken a decision by himself to suspend the president of the party. At the same time, Mr. Magashule, there was a time in which he was advised not to participate in the activities of the ANC and at the same time to behave in a manner that should not be contradictory to what the ANC stands for and the decisions that has been taken by the disciplinary committee. Unfortunately, that has not been the case. And I think at the same time, when you occupy a strategic position like that of the Secretary General, one would expect you to be the one who understands the Constitution very well, and you are the one who should be protecting the Constitution. Unfortunately, that has not been the case with Mr. Magashule.
All right, so for more reaction, we are now joined by Carl Niehaus, President of African Radical Economic Transformation Alliance. Mr. Niehaus, thank you so much for your time. Your reaction to the news of former Secretary General's suspension, or expulsion rather.
Well, this is just a continuation of the manner in which the so-called African National Congress, and I say deliberately so-called, because I don't believe that the ANC that I joined 43 years ago and which Comrade Ace Magashule joined exists anymore. But this so-called ANC is intolerant of the true liberation struggle ideals, and any of us who express those views get attacked and eventually you get driven out of the African National Congress. It happened with myself. Section 25 of the ANC Constitution was used against me, and now exactly the same is happening with Comrade Ace Magashule. This is the death knell of the African National Congress. The ANC is dying. It is not prepared to have internal democracy and internal criticism. It is not prepared to hear that it is failing the people of South Africa dismally, and in fact, that it is no longer a liberation movement. So this is no surprise. I expected that the ANC would behave in this manner against Comrade Ace Magashule, similarly to the way in which it behaved against me, and anyone who's prepared to stand up and state clearly that the ANC is no longer a liberation movement.
Mr. Niehaus, others would argue that, he was given an opportunity by the NDC to make representations for himself, and he chose not to do so. Now, as someone who occupied a very senior role, a very strategic role, he clearly knows the party's constitution.
Well, this was clearly a kangaroo court. I can tell you what happened when I was charged. I was actually online on a Zoom meeting where the chair of the National Disciplinary Committee was talking to the prosecutor. They thought that I was no longer online. They thought that my legal representative, Mr. Matthews Poza, was not online. And they were saying to each other, well, we better move fast because you know that Cyril Ramaphosa wants Mr. Niehaus to be out of the ANC before the 55th National Conference. I'm convinced that this was a pre-baked, predetermined decision also now for Comrade Ace Magashule. There is no semblance of justice. There's no semblance of abiding by the ANC Constitution. This is simply a lynch mob turning on anyone who is not prepared to toe the line that Cyril Ramaphosa and his acolytes is now giving in this so-called thing that I would no longer call the African National Congress, but the servant of white monopoly capitalism and imperialism.
Should he appeal, or do you think he should find another home, maybe Areta?
Well, that is decisions that obviously Comrade Ace Magashule must take. I cannot determine what he should do. My view, however, is that there's no ANC for him or for me or for anyone who still believes in the liberation ideals that the liberation struggle was all about to join or to rejoin. The ANC is gone. The ANC has left me. The ANC has left Ace Magashule. The ANC has left the people of South Africa. And next year, in 2024, the people of South Africa are going to leave the ANC. This is the end of the African National Congress. It is dead and gone, and the only thing that needs to be done now is to erect the tombstone for the African National Congress.
I would imagine you are referring again to the upcoming elections next year. You yourself have said that you will, team up with political parties to somehow dethrone the ANC. Is that what you are alluding to in terms of, the ANC having dealt, its final blow?
Yes, absolutely. The African National Congress are going to lose the elections in 2024. In fact, they have lost all legitimacy to continue to be the government of South Africa. I'm actually firmly of the belief that the ANC should be removed from power even before the 2024 elections. Any day longer for the African National Congress in this farcical form that it exists now is a day too long and a disaster for the people of South Africa. You can see what the consequences are. Internationally, we are being humiliated by the ANC. It is failing to find its place within the BRICS countries. It is now destroying its international standing because of the manner that it is treating the whole issue around President Putin and the ICC warrant for arrest. And in South Africa, we've got the highest figures of unemployment, the biggest division between the rich and the poor. We are living in darkness. Our state-owned enterprises have been destroyed and corruption is rampant. Just recently, we've seen what has been happening with members of parliament who clearly have been involved now in soliciting bribes while they're busy with a parliamentary process against the public protector. The ANC has become a total disgrace. It is indeed time for the ANC to leave, and the people of South Africa should give it the boot.
Niehaus, thank you so much for your time and your reaction this afternoon. Of course, he is the president of African Radical Economic Transformation Alliance. All right, let's continue here now.